You can be more grateful, bro. Matter of fact, you gotta be more grateful. You gotta be more grateful, Brian. And that is exactly what I was telling myself just about a week or two ago. Because I started to realize that everything I once prayed for, I started to complain about. I started to complain about everything I was praying for, and I'm just like, I realized I lost God's heart. I lost that heart of gratitude, of being thankful, you know? The word says to enter his gates with thanksgiving. And I realized it became hard. It became hard to just sit up and worship, to pray, you know? Because when you were complaining and you're so fixated on all the things that you don't have, when you're so fixated on all the things that you desire, you forget and lose sight of the things that you do have. And you become, you lose appreciation for it. It was one of these Sundays. I was on my way home. I was driving. It was late night, and I was on the phone with one of my boys. And I'm just venting to him. He's just there, being an open ear, just listening. And I was complaining to him about this opportunity that I was faced with. With an apartment in the current city that I'm in, or with a job opportunity in the city that I desire to be in. And I was entering a season of fasting after speaking to one of my pastors, and I was just letting him know, just rendering and complaining and complaining and complaining about everything that I don't have. And he had to stop me and told me, and he told me, he's like, "Yo, Brian, like, be careful about complaining about everything you prayed for. Like, you're literally like, I'll be the one to tell you, you're literally living in an answered prayer, man." You know, and that really touched me, man. So whoever's watching this video right now, I just feel like if this reached you, it's for a reason. It's for a reason, and I just want to remind you that you are living in an answered prayer. Sit back and think, right? During one of the Bible studies when I was in college, it was this practice that the pastor told us to do, and it was a prayer to just sit there and thank God about everything, right? And it was a thing, you to wake up every morning and at least three new things. You can't say things from before. Three new things to thank God of. And I had to start doing that again. It was been about a year or two since I've done that. And I needed to start doing that again, to just sit and just grow in gratitude and be thankful about the little things. Cause that's what I tend to do, right? Or what I realized I was beginning to do. I was looking past and overlooking all of the small things and became ungrateful. I became ungrateful because I started to fixate my mind so much on the things that I don't have, right? And I for and I realized I lost God's heart. I lost God's heart because, and I started to watch a sermon, and then the pastor said, how can God trust you with more? Right? Because God has more. God has more for every one of his children. Right? If God is able to tend to the birds in the sky, how much more than those made in his image? God has so much for us. But sometimes we get blinded by all the things that we don't have. We forget about the things that we do. And how can a father, right? A good father, give us more when we aren't appreciative of what we do have? I'm not gonna lie, I had to sit and think about, like, even my nephews, right? Because I'm not a father yet, but I can imagine if I am a father, right? If I have a child, and you want to give everything to your child, you want to give everything, you want to give them the world, whatever they need, whatever they want, right? But if they're a spoiled child, you're gonna be a bit more hesitant and be like, okay, I'm not gonna keep giving them, right? They're not even appreciating the things that they do have, right? They keep asking for more toys, right? They keep asking for more clothes, or whatever the case, whatever the desire is that they have, but they're not taking care of the clothes that they do have. They don't care about the toys. They keep throwing it under the bed. They don't care. They don't even use the toys that they have, but they want more. And it's like, how can God give me more? Right? How can God give you more if you don't appreciate the things that you have now? Right? How to sit and thank God, right? How to sit and thank God. And that's how my prayer life has been as of recent, just thanking God for the breath that's in my lungs. Thank you, God, for the car that I have. My car is 2011 Nissan Versa. I had to thank Him. God, help me steward the things that I have now, right? Help me steward the things that I have now. And I've been growing so much more in gratitude because of that, right? And I started to realize also, too, it's another caveat in this. Being a person that complains all day, being a person that is discontent with everything in her life, isn't the best person to be around. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest, because I know what it is to be around that person. I used to have plenty of people around me that this that I've distanced myself from, because I've realized that people who are discontent with so much in their life and have so much to complain about and can't find the good to rejoice in, they tend to treat their relationship as pillows. And that's why, so whoever's watching this, I want to urge you and caution, towards complaining and being discontent about everything. There has to come a point, right? And this is where I want to land on. There has to come a point where you come to a place where you are content. Where, okay, I don't have this, I don't have that, but it is good. It is good. It is good. Find that place where, okay, I may not have this, but I have this. You know, that is a very healthy approach to approaching your emotions, because your emotions are very real. And I want to let you know that my emotions are real. You know, my desires to hope and to want more is fine. It's almost healthy. It's bad if I'm just completely like, okay, I don't want more. I don't want, I still desire a wife. I still desire a family. I still desire financial success. I still desire career growth. That's fine. I still desire a better car. There's plenty of things I desire. But there has to come a place where I'll be like, okay, I don't have this, but God, help me steward what I have now. Help me be a better steward of the things I have now. Help me be a steward of my studio apartment. There's many people that are outside right now praying for a roof over their head. Thank God that I have a roof over my head. Thank you, God, for the food that I have. Thank you, God, for my family. There's plenty of people that are mourning right now, family members. There's plenty of people who are going hungry, right? And a lot of time I feel like walking with Christ, you just, God could do so much, in your life and abundantly more than what you could ask for, that's all you start seeking. And you forget that there's also a point where you have to be content in what you do have. And also let the Lord work within you, work with in gratitude. And that's something I've been praying for. I've been praying for God to work in the gratitude of my heart. The gratitude of my heart, to be thankful for where I'm at, to be grateful of the season I'm in, and to be grateful in the city that I'm living in, to be close to family. You know, once we lose that heart posture, it's really hard. It's really hard to be thankful, man. So it gets harder to pray, it gets harder to worship, it gets harder to trust in God, because you're so fixated on what you don't have. And again, I want to bring it back to, it's not to ignore. It's not to ignore what you don't have, again, because it's healthy. But it's not to be so fixated on what you do, on what you don't have, that you forget and lose focus on what you do have. That's when it becomes unhealthy, man. So whoever this video reaches, I just want to encourage you. Be thankful for what you do have. Be grateful. Give God thanks, and just sit for a couple of minutes. Just sit and think of 3 new things every day that you didn't thank God for. Thank him. And it will start to increase daily. The more you pray that prayer, God, thank you for this, thank you for that, you'll start to realize, you know, yeah, you'll become, your heart will become more open, and you'll start to gain God's heart because you're starting to be appreciative and grateful. So rejoicing over the small things. I hope that reached someone and touched someone's heart today.